Today we're going to be talking about division using a place value chart and how it's related to the standard algorithm. The equation that we'll be using today is 6 72/100 divided by 2. The first step is you want to identify and circle how many groups. This number is also known as the divisor. I'm going to be putting 6 72/100 into 2 groups. Step 2 is you want to draw your place value chart. You want one big row where you're going to put all of your discs, and then you want a row for each group that you are doing. Your divisor is 2 in this case, so you need 2 groups, which is 1, 2. So altogether you should have 3 rows on your place value chart. You also want to make columns to match the dividend in your problem. In this case, I have 3 columns because I have 3 numbers in my dividend. Step 3 is to write the standard algorithm. When you're writing a standard algorithm for division, you want to have your division sign, which looks like this. I like to do it on a grid so I can make sure that I'm lining up the numbers correctly. The divisor goes on the outside, so I'll draw 2 here, and then the dividend goes on the inside. So a 6 decimal 7 2. Now for step 4, we want to show the dividend in discs. In my ones, I have 6 because in my dividend, my ones column has a 6. In my tenths, I have 7, so I'm going to show 7 tenths. And then in my hundredths column, I have 2. This right here represents 6.72. Step 5 is you want to start with the largest value unit and distribute the discs equally into the groups. My largest value unit is ones. I have 2 groups, so I'll go 1, 2, and then I put those 2 into the groups. Again, 1, 2, and I put those 2 into the groups. And my last 2 divided into my groups. Now for step 6, you want to record on your standard algorithm. On the top of the divide sign, you want to record how many discs you put in each group. In my first group, I have 1, 2, 3. In my second group, I have 1, 2, 3. There are 3 discs in each group. So on the top, I'm going to do a 3 to represent how many discs are in each group. Then on the bottom, you want to subtract the total number of discs that you shared, which in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to subtract 6. Another way to think about this is you can go 3 times 2 equals 6. I do my subtraction, which is 6 minus 6, or 0. I bring down my next number, 7, which should represent how many discs I have in each group. Step 7 is also asking yourself, do I need to unbundle? If I had any leftover discs and I couldn't divide them equally into my groups, I would need to unbundle those discs to the next column. And in case of unbundling, 1 disc would equal 10 discs in the next column over. But because I didn't have any extra discs here in the ones column, I do not need to unbundle on this step. Step 8 is to repeat steps 5 through 7 for each place value until you end up with 0 discs left. I did the ones column, so now I move on to the tenths. Step 5 is you start with the largest column, which is tenths now, and you divide the discs equally into groups. So I have 2 groups, so I'm going to take off 1, 2, and distribute those discs down to the bottom groups, and do it again. Again. Now I only have 1 disc left, and I cannot distribute that equally into 2 groups, so I'm going to circle it to make sure I know that I have 1 disc left over. Now I'm going to go step 6 and record my answers. On top, I'm going to record how many discs are in each group. There's 1, 2, 3 discs in each group. What I want to make sure is that I'm lining up my place values. This 3 is in the tenths column, so I need to make sure that it's over the tenths column or the tenths number in my dividend. Also, remember to bring up your decimal and place it right over the decimal of your dividend. Now, on the bottom, I need to write my subtraction sentence. I am subtracting how many discs I shared in all in the tenths column, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The other way I can look at this is 3 times 2, or 3 discs in 2 groups, and I write that number down here. 7 minus 6 is 1, which is how many I have left over. Now I need to unbundle. This 1 disc is going to become 10 discs in the hundredths column. I drop down my 2 from my dividend, and this number 12 should match how many discs I have in my hundredths column. Let's check and see if we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we are on track because this number down here matches how many I have in my hundredths column. Now I go back up to step 5 because I'm not at 0 discs yet. And I'm going to distribute equally into groups. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I'm going to go until all my discs are distributed equally into each of my 2 groups. And my final pair, 1, 2. I'm left with 0 discs, so I know I don't need to unbundle. So now I need to record it, step 6 on my standard algorithm. I have on top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 discs in each group. So above my hundredths number in my dividend, I'm going to write how many hundredths discs I have in my problem, which is 6. Now I need to write my subtraction sentence. I can count how many I have in all up here, or I can do 6 times 2, which equals 12. Then subtract 0. I went until I had 0 left, and I don't have any more discs in any more columns, so I'm done. My answer to the problem of 6 and 72 hundredths divided by 2 is 3 and 36 hundredths.